We welcome this morning to Daybreak a longtime Sylacaugan and successful businessman, owner of Delta Security Services and former police chief in Sylacauga, Billy Hay. And Billy, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy.
Thanks for being with us today. You started Delta Security Services back, what, 12 years ago?
12 years ago, October year 2000.
Wow.
And as of today, we have 50 plus employees.
Made a few payrolls since now and then, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to help me. The experience of making payroll and dealing with the public, having 50 plus employees. I think the main goal right now, and of course I'm here to announce my candidacy for District 5 on the City Council, City of Sylacauga. I feel like my experience as a business person, my experience as a police chief in the city, I've had 22 years in law enforcement, 11 as police chief, so I pretty well know just about everybody in Sylacauga, and so many friends. And with Delta Security has been very successful. I know what it's like to hire, to make the payroll, like I said a few minutes ago. And I also know that the main job that I would have is jobs in Sylacauga.
You contemplated whether to run for City Council District 5 or for the mayorship. What went into that process and why this final decision?
Everywhere I go, you know, and I have so many friends on every walk of life, they have encouraged me, you know, to run for the mayor's slot. You know, I ran 8 years ago. I had 1,500 and something votes, which I was in the runoff with the mayor today, Mr. Wright. And, you know, it's hard to say no when you got that much support out here. I weighed the options, me, Sherry, and Leslie. I feel like I can be a better steward of the city by being on the council. I can at least have a vote on things. You know, if you look back, we've been talking about a sportsplex for 15 years. We talked about it 8 years ago when I was running. Where is it at? What have we done about it? We have done nothing. Seems like sometimes it falls on deaf ears. So, you know, I want to tell the people of Sylacauga, not only in District 5, that if elected, I feel like, and I want to tell them up front, and it's a little quote I like now. If you elect me on the council, I've got your back. And by that I mean I want an open council. I don't want no shenanigans or anything, and I'm sure not saying that has went on. But Bill Hay, if it has went on, would put a stop to it, and I put a stop to it in the public eye.
Billy Hay, our guest this morning on Daybreak, he is announcing his candidacy for City Council District 5 in the municipal elections coming up in August. And being a successful businessman, owner of Delta Security Services for 12 years, you know about what it is making a payroll and how you budget and how monies are. And so it's not easy to make tough decisions sometimes.
It's not easy. And knock on wood, the 11 years I was police chief, I never did go over budget one time. And it's hard in small business. And thank the good Lord for these big businesses like our quarries and hospitals and
you're kind of partial to small business. You really like those moms and pop kind of things, right?
I do. You know, even at one time when I left the city, I owned a convenience store for 4 years that belonged to my mother and daddy-in-law, Bob and Maurice Hawthorne. And it was very successful. So I guess what I'm trying to say here, and I hope the people will realize that if I'm elected to the council, the number one priority is jobs. You can't have more retail or all of this other stuff without having jobs that provides the monies for the families to eat, recreation, clothing, and the list goes on. So Sylacauga is not any different from the nation. You know, our unemployment is high, and we got to go out and recruit businesses. We got to do it on a personal note. We got to do it with a handshake to come to Sylacauga, and let's show you what we got. You know, and it's so good that we do have the quarries. It's so good we do have Sylacauga Hospital, NEMAX. NEMAX has been great for the community, just like all the others. IKO. So that's what I want to do. I want to be in the forefront, leading the council to saying, you know, we got to get the jobs in here. We got to keep our kids here and keep them when they get out of school from moving away from Sylacauga. I don't know the stats as far as the population now compared to years ago, but I feel like it's stagnant. I feel like we got to do something to make it grow. And you know, Jimmy, you've been knowing me for years. I'm pretty outspoken on the way I believe and what I believe. I don't mind expressing my views. I sure don't mind doing it in front of the public. Another thing I'm concerned about, and I always have been, and you got to realize I worked under 7 mayors as a police officer. I like the idea, I don't like the idea of a work session. You know, I like the idea.
Why?
Well, last time I checked, this is still America, and I think everything should be made out, decisions made out in the open, and I would say move it to the council chambers, invite the news media, whether the state law requires 24 hours, 48 hours, I'm not for sure on that, but I'll find out. And I like to see it, I like to see the council meeting broadcast live. I like to see the news media there. The local paper, Daily Home, Sylacauga Today, the new internet thing, and I just feel like everything should be discussed out in the open. Now, what you do when you go and they vote on something is click, 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 click. Let's debate it.
The decision's already been made.
That's right. So let's debate it in open council meeting. If someone gets unruly or obnoxious or whatever, disrespect the council or the mayor or the public, you know, we have enough of police officers and we can ask them to leave, and we do it in a civil manner. But I think everything should be made, every decision should be made up front, out in the open, so anybody that wants to come. I foresee the council chambers to be full. It's like at Chief Carden's inauguration last night as police chief.
You're kind of proud about that, aren't you?
I'm proud of that because I always call him one of my boys. I hired Chris, and he'll make an outstanding chief of police. But I like to see that council chamber full every time they have a meeting. I want everybody to get involved with city government. This is their city. They spend their tax dollars here, you know, and I'm very conscious of where those dollars should go, you know. And I just look forward to representing District 5 and have a vote with the rest of the council, have a dialogue with the mayor. And, you know, and I ask for everybody's vote. You know, what you see is what you get. I just look forward to expressing my views on different subjects that comes up. But right now, I say to everybody out there, it's jobs, jobs, jobs. Let's keep our children here where they graduate school.
You're a grandfather. You enjoy being with your kids and grandchildren, and your family is very important to you.
My family is very important to me. I got a wonderful wife, a wonderful daughter, son-in-law, and 3 little grandgirls. And
do they know how to get to granddaddy?
Yes, they do. The 2 oldest ones are real active in softball, and you know, I visualize a sportsplex not only for the children, but for adults and senior citizens. Sometimes we forget the senior citizens. You know, they need a place to come to for recreation. I don't care what it could be, shuffleboard, whatever they want, a pool, but we need one central location. I was in Troy, Alabama here 2 or 3 weeks ago at a softball playoff, state playoff. My oldest granddaughter was involved in it, and then I was in Montgomery at Lagoon Park. Now, I'll tell you something. Those are class acts. Anybody would be proud of that. Anybody. Of course, they charge a fee to get in. They charge a fee to park, and then you got your concessions. So that's a money revenue producer, you know. The main thing is when you go out of town, you stay at a motel, you go to the restaurants, you go shopping, and we have done that in Oxford. We have done that everywhere Hayden goes, and everywhere Grayson goes. But you know, the main thing right now is we got to bring jobs. We got to do something for our kids and senior citizens. I think sometimes the senior citizens are kind of pushed back.
You've been kind of, ever since I've known you, you've been really a spokesperson and a supporter of the underdog.
Thank you for saying that. You know, you don't walk through this world but one time. And I told someone the other day, it's like a card game. Some people are dealt a royal flush, a full house, and all the way down to a pair. And some people don't even pair up. those people that don't even pair up means just as much to me as the people that drew a royal flush. They hurt, they cry, they laugh, they get hungry, they need clothing, they need this and that. And yeah, I take pride in taking up for the underdog, the underprivileged. I don't care if it's a child, I don't care what race it is, I don't care what sex it is, and what economic part they play or whatever. They are human beings, and they need to be treated with dignity. They need to be treated with any kind of support that the city can give, within reason.
Talk more specifically. Of course, Billy Hayes, our guest, he's announcing his candidacy for Sylacauga City Council District 5 in the municipal elections coming up in August. District 5, where is it at, and what are some of the issues you see in District 5?
They just changed the districts, got new maps. In fact, I got one down at the office, and I really got to study it because I want to knock on every door, and I want to give everybody a card. And I live on off of West Walnut, before you get to Bolton Avenue, a street called Country Drive. So it's back in that area, and come, I think, all the way up to towards 4th or something. But I can assure you, before the election, we'll knock on every door in that district.
You know exactly where the district is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We ran I think a very successful race 8 years ago. I was very proud of the 1,500 and something votes I got first time out here. And, I'm just asking everyone that lives in the 5th district, I need your support. I can't go on the council without your vote. And, I have an open door policy to you. There won't be no shenanigans. It won't be no, nothing I would participate that would bring shame to the city of Sylacauga.
If District 5 is like other districts, and I'm sure it is, we've just spent over $1 million in paving, which is not much, but a lot of the streets, I'm sure, in District 5 need attention as well.
I think so too. And the street that we had bought a house on recently, it got paved recently. But if you ride around and you look, even the cosmetics of the city has went down in the last 10, 15 years. I know Mayor Payton, he and I was real close. And he did everything he could to make sure those car tags you used to see that says beautiful Sylacauga was beautiful. You get off the main thoroughfare now, and I challenge each citizen of Sylacauga, get in your vehicle and ride down these side streets and look at your litter, look at your debris, look at your the buildings that, you got more empty buildings now than ever. Kmart, Firestone just went out of business, Marvin's just went out of business, Crystal just went out of business. And the list goes on. And after a while, they become eyesores, very big eyesores. So that needs to be addressed in the future.
How do you fix that?
Well, the city of Birmingham has passed ordinances that they either burn or destroy the house that has been condemned, and I think they send the owners a bill for it. And then if they don't do what's right, I think they take them to court. But we have a lot of eyesores in Sylacauga. I'm a firm believer in using the Board of Correction prisoners to work. It's a nominal fee. You sure can work one of them cheaper than you can an employee with all the benefits and stuff. Most people, and I know from experience, just because you pay someone, I'm just going to use an example, $8 or $10 an hour, it don't stop there. You got federal mandated taxes, unemployment compensation taxes, and all this other stuff that you got to deal with. So probably you can add 30, 35, 40% to that. And you bring a Board of Correction prisoner here, 10, 12, 20, ever how many you can get. Well, they're the ones that keep the city streets clean. Brooms need to be out here sweeping these curbs, debris, and everything else. I don't know exactly what the cost is, but it has to be lower than hiring a new employee. And what you probably could do is hire one employee to oversee that, to watch over them. I know years and years ago when I was a kid, Mr. Palmer worked the city prisoners. I remember that real good, probably back in the 60s. But you know, I want to check that and get some help in here. Let's get this city clean like it used to be. Let's be proud again.
Turn back the clock 8 years when you ran for mayor of Sylacauga. How has Billy Hay mellowed, or has he changed his stance on some issues, or is this the same Billy Hay that we've always known?
I probably changed a lot. Last time I talked about a loss of probably people didn't care about that. How I was raised and how much I loved my parents and my siblings, and still do. Now I can see over the last 8 years that, again, jobs. You know, we don't have the jobs to support the families. We don't have, like I said, a sportsplex. They talk a big game but never do anything about it. We got to have priorities. I mean, and I'm a priority setter. If it's good for the masses and they agree with it, it's their tax dollars. You know, let's take a vote, see how many votes we can get. You know, so yeah, I've changed. I kind of mellowed out, I guess, over the years. I haven't mellowed out voicing my opinion. I haven't mellowed out caring for people. Just like I said a few moments ago, that little guy, the little lady on the bottom of that rung on that ladder, I care for them very much. And I will always do that. I will always be their friend and their supporter.
You have one vote, and working with other city council members as a team to further this city along. A few minutes to talk about the direction of the city of Sylacauga the next 4 years. Very pivotal for our city.
Well, I think any time that you're in elected office, you got to be someone that can compromise. I'm not going to get my way every time. They're not going to get their way every time. They're not going to get my vote every time. I'm not going to get their vote every time. But once you sit down with a dialogue and you outweigh everything, what's good for the people of Sylacauga, not what's good for Billy Hay, not what's good for my family, it's what's good for these citizens of Sylacauga. And like I keep saying, you know, top priority is jobs. We had several people retire from the city in the last year or so. I think I counted 4 or 5. You know, I'd like to see maybe some kind of a recruiter for the city of Sylacauga who can actually go out and meet with these people own these companies and stuff. And I think we can fund that by not, you know, I really don't think we need to rehire a bunch of folks that we can do something else with that money with, you know. So that's the way I look at that.
Billy Hay, our guest today on Daybreak, announcing his candidacy for City Council District 5 in the Sylacauga municipal elections coming up in August. And Billy, always a pleasure, and thanks for taking the time.
It's always a pleasure, and I appreciate you having me. And again, you know, I just want to make one statement. Not only to the people of District 5, I can assure you, if you help me get elected, if you know friends in my district or whatever, as long as I'm on that council, I promise you I'll have you back. And I appreciate you having me today.
More on Daybreak in a minute.